This is the story of my older brother James Otis. Among those who have been forgotten, there is no more important figure in the American Revolution.
From every mountainside, let freedom reign.
I'm Mercy Otis Warren, a poet, a playwright, the first American playwright, historians call me now. I had hoped to be the editor of my brother's collected writings, but history had other plans for Jimmy, and his papers never got published. This is why you know so little about him today.
The story of how this came to be begins in a courtroom in Boston on a blustery day in November 1761. Thomas Hutchinson, Lieutenant Governor of the province of Massachusetts, presided over an extraordinary case.
The court will now hear James Otis, Jr.
After the death of King George II, legal papers had to be replaced with new ones bearing the seal of King George III. The writs of assistance were documents that gave custom officials the authority to search for contraband.
When the new writs arrived, however, more than an official seal had been changed. The wording of these new documents had become much broader and more general in scope. Specific searches for specific contraband no longer had to be specified.
The writs upset my brother so much that he resigned as the king's advocate, because in that position he would have to defend them.
Or does Otis, Jr. need more time?
I'm ready, Your Honor. I would like to remind the court that my duty as King's advocate was to defend these writs of assistance, and that I've resigned my position with this court in order to argue in behalf of the inhabitants of Boston against them. I have accepted no fee in this case. I argue as I do because I oppose and shall oppose to my dying day all such instruments of slavery and villainy as this writ of assistance is. It appears to me to be the worst instrument of arbitrary power ever found in an English law book.
The case was well argued on both sides, but Hutchinson decided to confer with England before making a decision. After court was adjourned, Jimmy was approached by a young admirer, John Adams.
Your argument was very moving, sir, but perhaps not logical enough to convince Mr. Hutchinson that he has to ask England what to do. Oh, I think you won, sir. I think a delay is as good as defeat. I planned to take notes, but I'm so captured by your eloquence, I took no notes at all. Are you a lawyer? I'm just beginning, sir. If you let yourself be so distracted by eloquence, Mr. Adams, that you neglect a cold look at the logic of a plea, you'll find yourself swept along by every ignorant honeymouth in the province.
Our father, Colonel James Otis Sr., was the Speaker of the House and the leading candidate to be appointed as the new Chief Justice by Governor Bernard. Father did not approve of Jimmy's resignation as King's advocate.
Father, I cannot defend tyranny.
This is hardly the intention of...
The writ itself, not the intention. It compromises the liberty of us all. Not even the Speaker of the House is immune.
The Speaker of the House merely came forward to compliment his son on a well-spoken plea.
Then you've changed your mind about the writ?
I do not have to agree with a plea in order to admire its execution.
England decided against Jimmy, refusing to rescind the new writs of assistance. At about the same time, Hutchinson himself, not father, was appointed Chief Justice. Once again, Jimmy was outraged. This time he resigned his seat in the House. He then wrote a scathing piece in the Gazette against Hutchinson, arguing that no man should occupy positions in both the executive and judicial branches of government. This article inspired another young Adams who admired my brother, John's cousin Samuel, the local tax collector.
Why are you resigning on the eve of victory? The piece in the Gazette is brilliant,
What victory was that? I lost the case.
but you alerted the people. Anyone using the writ now would risk facing a mob ready to snatch it from your hands.
Threats of violence, Samuel, solve nothing.
When the people are outraged, they speak as best they can.
Then England levied new taxes on the colonies, and Hutchison appointed Andrew Oliver, the secretary of the province, to be the stamp master to administer them. The people of Boston did not welcome these new taxes. Meetings and rallies against them were held, and usually Jimmy was the leading speaker.
No taxes! No taxes! No taxes!
Gentlemen, we meet here tonight to discuss the Stamp Act, which is soon to reach our shores. The Stamp Act that would transfer money from our pockets to Britain's purse. But let us not forget for a single moment as we list our grievances here tonight, that we are not here to criticize the Constitution, but to defend it. We are against the Stamp Act because it is unconstitutional.
No taxes! No taxes!
No.
London cannot tax our Boston merchants. They have no representation in Parliament in London. There can be no taxation without representation.
No taxes! No taxes!
Therefore, the Stamp Act was without effect in Massachusetts. Taxation without representation is tyranny.
No taxes!